This is Chad Warner at Optimwise, and today I'd like to show you how to check your page indexing in Google Search Console. So you'll log into Search Console, select your website, and then in the indexing section you can choose pages. This will tell you how many of your pages have not been indexed, how many have, and a number of reasons for those not being indexed. So what we're going to look at is why are there pages that have not been indexed, and should we do anything about those? So if you scroll down a little bit here, you'll see pages that are not indexed broken out by the various reasons, and you can see how many pages are fitting into each of those categories. So you don't need to do anything about all of these, but some of them do require some attention. So we'll go through what's going on with the Optimwise website. So a page with a redirect. So over the years, there have been various reasons for redirecting pages in this website. And so as long as those are set up properly, that's not a problem that some of the pages are not being indexed if we have those redirected. So if the old page has been redirected to a new page, we don't care that the old URL is not being indexed because the new one is. Then we have some pages that are excluded because they are marked as no index. And so if that is correct, if we've deliberately no indexed those pages, then it makes sense that they're not being indexed. And so these ones are not a concern either. It doesn't hurt to go in and check just to make sure those really are ones that you don't want to be indexed. But I've looked at this recently, and so I know that those are ones that we don't want to have indexed. Then we have an alternate page with a proper canonical tag. And so if you have your canonical tags set up properly to tell your website, or for your website to tell search engines that this is the canonical page, then again, this is not going to be an issue. It makes sense that the pages that are linking or pointing to other pages as canonical would not be indexed because the canonical ones are. Then you've got pages that are blocked by robots.txt. Again, if you have set certain pages to be blocked through robots.txt, which is telling search engines do not index these pages, then that makes sense that those will not be indexed. Now, the rest of these are going to require some more work because these are ones that are not as obvious that you would want them to be excluded. So not found, 404 errors. So if you have pages that are showing up with 404 errors, that is probably accidental because if those pages are not loading and you meant them to not load, you probably would want to redirect them somewhere. And so if you're getting 404 errors, that's not a good thing for the user experience. Those should be redirected. So these we want to take a look at. Pages that are crawled but currently not indexed. So Google has been able to come and crawl these pages, but for some reason has decided not to add them to the index. So we want to make sure that we are okay with those pages not being in the index. Then we have pages that are discovered but currently not indexed. So those are pages that Google has found out about somehow, not necessarily through our own sitemap or our own links on the website. Maybe it's found them on other websites, and it has chosen not to index them for some reason. So I want to look at those. Redirect errors. So that would be a problem if we have wanted to redirect certain pages and they're not redirecting properly. We want to look at those. And then finally, pages that are duplicates and Google chose some different canonical than what we had selected. So we want to look at each of those. So I've already opened these in other pages tabs. So that you open these is just clicking on them. So if I click on not found here, then I'll see these are pages that are not found. There are 2 of them. You can kind of see the trend over time. So a few months ago, there were 6, dropped down to 3. Now it's been sitting at 2 for a couple of months. So the ones that we see here, so we're going to look at these and figure out, is it a problem that these are giving 404 errors? All right, so this address is a blog post, and it has a feed as part of the URL. And so this is just WordPress's built-in providing RSS feeds for various parts of the website. And so I really don't care if the feed URL for this blog post is giving a 404 error. I'm just going to leave that alone. Then we've got category websites. So this is the website's category in the blog, and it's page 19. Well, maybe there aren't 19 pages of blog posts in that category anymore, and maybe there used to be. I really don't care to have page 19 of this category showing up in search engines. So I'm fine with this just giving a 404. So if I wanted to deal with these, I could, but I'm fine with these just remaining as problems. All right, then we're going over to redirect errors. So there are two of those currently. And as I look at these, I notice that these are just HTTP. And many years ago, we switched the site from HTTP to HTTPS. For some reason, we still have HTTP URLs that are showing up. And so I can click on any of these to get more information, inspect the URL. This will go out to the index and see, well, it's not listed in any sitemaps. There are links from a couple of other pages, one with HTTPS, one as HTTP. And so this is not too concerning, again, because it's HTTP. I really don't care to have that particular address in the search engine results because the HTTPS version is the one that should be indexed anyway. But if I wanted to do anything with this, if I've made any changes and want to request indexing, I could do that. All right, going on to the next set, we've got crawled and currently not indexed, so we've got 34 there. And as I look through the list here, I'm seeing some feeds I don't care about, feeds. Here is a website starting with HTTP, so again, I don't care as long as the HTTPS version is showing up in SERPs. I don't care that the HTTP is not. More HTTP, feed. Okay, now here's one. It is HTTPS, it's not feed. This is an actual blog post, and I would think that this one should be indexed. And so if I want to find out about that, I can click on it and inspect the URL. All right, it is in the sitemap. It is being referred from a couple of pages. Crawl is allowed, indexing is allowed. I'm not seeing a reason why this one should not be indexed. All right, so what I can do is I can request indexing, and first Google's going to see if it can reach the live page. This takes a few seconds at least. Okay, so it was able to reach the live page and has sent in an indexing request. So there's nothing to do here other than dismiss this notice. This is just saying it's been put in the queue, and it could be hours, it could be days, but at some point Google should come back to that, and we'll just have to see the next time we come back and check if that is still listed as not indexed or if it is later indexed. All right, we've got feed to the next page, and you can control if you do want to see more results. You can change that. Okay, here's this one's HTTP feed. Email etiquette. This is a very old blog post and really not relevant to what we're doing anymore. So even though it is HTTPS, there's really not a reason that this shouldn't be indexed, but this is really not going to do anything for the business to have this in SERPs, and so I'm fine with that just staying out. Same thing here. The address is fine. It's from 2017, and so very old, not something that's going to really move the needle for us, so fine to leave that. Feed. All right, next page. Feed. All the rest of these are feed. All right. Here's a tag. Here's a feed. It's actually for a development URL from a long time ago. This one I happen to know is a pretty old blog post. Again, not really something that's going to make a difference for the business for that to be indexed or not. Now this one, this is before we had our portfolio at /portfolio, it was at /work. And so this was set up at that point. If I want to find out what is actually going on with this, I can inspect this URL. All right, it's not in any sitemaps, and it's coming from this page. And actually, both of these URLs are going to go to the same blog post. So I could go open this and see, where is this? Okay, so this URL is actually not even a link. This is just being used in an example of how to set up redirects within this blog post. And so this URL did at one point exist. It does not anymore. And this is fine because it's just being used as an example here. It's not even a clickable link. We're not really trying to send anyone there. So not a problem that this is not indexed. Okay, so that one's fine. Now we're looking at those that have been discovered but are currently not indexed. There are only 2 here. Here we've got another very old blog post, 2015. Do not care that that is not being indexed. Now here's portfolio. That is how we currently have our portfolio URL set up, American Rental Services. And if I try to open this, I can see the page does exist, but I do happen to know that we are not linking to this page from any other pages. And so it would make sense. Here we can see referring page, none detected. It is showing up in the sitemap because we have it published and we do not have it no indexed, but we're not linking to it from anywhere. We're not actually trying to drive any traffic to that page. And so it is showing up accurately in this report because Google is able to find it. It's in the sitemap, but because no other pages are linking to it, they've chosen not to index it. They're assuming it can't be that important if you can't be bothered to link over to it. So that's fine. I'm just going to leave that as it is. All right, last area here, duplicate. Google chose different canonical than user. All right, so here I can see this is an HTTP. And if I wanted to see what's going on with this, you can see it was the last crawled in 2016. So this is obviously very low priority. I can go and inspect this. It's not in any sitemaps. The referring pages are both HTTP, so these are old anyway. And I don't know that we've ever even had our URL set up this way, maybe at some point. And so this is, Google has said, you know what, we're going to go with the HTTPS version of this. And if I wanted to, I could grab this and just check, is this even live? Yeah, it is. It's very old, but this blog post does exist. And but because it's so old, this is really not going to be important to get indexed. If I did want to request that Google index it, again, I could go and request the indexing. But that would actually, I'd be requesting it for this HTTP version of the URL. And so I really don't want that to be indexed anyway, because Google has already said, we see that the HTTPS version is the canonical one. So I don't need to do anything here. Now, if this is the very first time that you've ever gone through page indexing, you're probably going to have more cleanup to do. I usually check this every quarter. And so over time, I've been able to play whack-a-mole with the different errors and pages that are not being indexed that I want to be. It's not really the goal to get rid of all of these errors. As you get more content on your site, there are just going to be pages that are not going to be indexed, and not all of them you want to be indexed. So in the blog post that goes along with this video, I'll include more details about how to do this, as well as linking over to some of Google's documentation that'll provide more information about what these various reasons mean and how to work with the page indexing controls inside of Google Search Console. So you can see the link to that blog post for more information.